how do gender differences in education and skills development play into kind of your perspective on the Ontario prosperity?
Yeah, so first of all, thanks for the opportunity. And since you gave citation to those wonderful thought pieces, I should give credit to the person who had the thoughts. Philippa French, my colleague, wrote those.
Right.
As most things at ICP, it starts as a rant by me, and then my staff actually find facts to back up my anger. So I guess in two ways. One, I would say from an educational perspective, what concerns us is you have a massive public investment in the physical infrastructure, in the subsidies that are provided for everyone, regardless of age, race, the rest, for the spots at secondary school, and then we aren't doing the necessary things to maximize that public investment on the flip side. Roger Martin has a wonderful speaking style. I always used to joke it was a Mennonite style, which is the knife was being slipped between your rib cage before you knew you're actually in a knife fight. And he used to say, it's not that we want your policies to be smart, we just really appreciate it if they were less stupid. And so when I look at some of the policies that are happening right now, particularly on both education, then for me, the thing that keeps me up at night is on the child care side. And so child care is often dismissed on one side of the argument as mere babysitting. And when I think about the multiple benefits that can come from increased child care, not only the amount, but also the price, are going to get those very people who we've spent all the money educating. More than 50% of post-secondary space is now being taken up by young women, and to not maximize that benefit, I think, is a huge loss. And I'll get in later a little bit more about some of the child care spaces, but that's where we would look at the education attainment. Make the upfront investment, but make sure you maximize that investment later on.
Yeah, if you invest and then you don't allow that investment to pay off, it's kind of...
Well, I don't mean to bring gender into it. But if the equation was flipped, and it was 55% of men, and there was a pay gap for young men coming out of university, I have to imagine that we would have come up with a policy response by now.
Yeah, because there is this mindset, and I think this goes to why the 6 and 7 cents still exists, despite all of the, even for the same job, is this mindset that women probably should make, there's just like an idea that women should make less or women should accept less in the...
Well, yeah, and from an ICP perspective, what I would say is our focus has been less on, and I defer to my colleagues on this front, on the pay gap or the wage gap, and more on the labor force participation rates.
Right.
And to that, I would say we aren't big enough to leave anybody off the playing field, whether that is racialized from a gender perspective and the rest. We are about 13 million people. And if we keep saying we are going to be a global city and a global province and this country is going to compete on a global scale, then we need everybody working to their maximum. With the one thought piece you spoke of, there's $13 billion being left on the table if we just moved the labor force participation of women across the country to the Quebec level.
Right.
That's $13 billion of income. That's $13 billion that can be taxed. That's $13 billion that can then be redistributed. So even just that feels like a laudable policy goal.